These are the men who turned flowers into weapons and star charts into secret messages. In 17th century England, while a civil war tore the nation apart, a wounded herbalist and a controversial astrologer built a coded system that mapped every plant in the British Isles to the planets above, and then used that system to predict the death of a king. Nicholas Culpeper entered the world in 1616 in the parish of Ockley, Surrey. His father, a country rector, died before Nicholas was born, leaving him to the care of his mother, Mary Tattersall, and a family steeped in both learning and rural tradition. His grandfather, William Tattersall, a clergyman fluent in Latin and Greek, guided Nicholas through ancient texts, scribbling notes on Galen and Hippocrates in worn prayer books. Yet it was his grandmother's knowledge, gathered from hedgerows and whispered in kitchens, that shaped his earliest sense of healing. She taught him remedies drawn from nettle and chamomile, cures that belonged to the people, not the medical elite. At 16, Nicholas began studies at Cambridge, but tragedy struck when his betrothed was killed by lightning as they planned to run away together. Grief pulled him from academia and into apprenticeship with a London apothecary. There, he learned to grind, mix, and serve the sick directly, sidestepping the barriers of privilege and language. Marriage to Alice Field, an heiress from Whitechapel, gave him the means to open a shop in Spitalfields. Parish records from 1635 list him as Nicholas Culpeper, apothecary, paying his dues and raising a family. In cramped rooms on Red Lion Street, he saw up to 40 patients in a morning, offering remedies and advice for a penny or nothing at all. Healing, for Culpeper, was a duty owed to everyone. In London, the doors of medicine were guarded by the Royal College of Physicians, a body founded by royal charter in 1518 and fortified by law to protect its own. The college's authority ran deeper than mere license. It was linguistic, intellectual, and economic. The official Pharmacopoeia Londinensis, first printed in 1618, was written in Latin alone, and only those who could read its pages held the right to prescribe or prepare its remedies. For the majority, artisans, laborers, women, the poor, the text may as well have been written in cipher. The college's statutes demanded that every apothecary own the Latin Pharmacopoeia and follow its recipes to the letter. Fines were levied against any who dared stray from its pages or translate its secrets. Minutes from the college's meetings in the 1630s record petitions for harsher penalties against unlicensed practitioners and those who trafficked in vernacular advice. The monopoly was not merely professional, but a barrier of language designed to keep healing in the hands of the educated and the privileged. Culpeper called this the Latin Gate, a wall that kept the sick outside while the cure remained locked within. He complained that 3 kinds of people diseased the public: priests, physicians, and lawyers. He insisted that no man deserved to starve to pay an insulting, insolent physician. In this world, to translate was an act of rebellion. The college's Latin-only policy was not just a matter of tradition, it was a weapon, and those who challenged it risked prosecution, professional ruin, or worse. For Culpeper, the stakes were clear. Healing must belong to the people, and the first battle would be fought with words. Culpeper's code began with a simple but radical premise. The heavens and the earth spoke the same language. In his hands, the boundaries between medicine, astrology, and rebellion dissolved into a single system. Every plant, he argued, bore the mark of a ruling planet. The sun governed chamomile and St. John's wort, herbs golden in color, warming, and used to lift melancholy or soothe a weary heart. The moon laid claim to watercress and peppermint, plants with cool, moist qualities prescribed for ailments of the belly and the mind's restless tides. Mars, fierce and sharp, ruled nettle and milk thistle, herbs for wounds, fevers, and the blood's unruly heat. Mercury, quicksilver, and elusive, watched over fennel and parsley, chosen for their powers to clear the senses and speed recovery from the confusion of illness. Culpeper's tables mapped these correspondences with a scholar's precision and a dissident's intent. He drew not only from ancient authorities, Ficino and Agrippa, but from the doctrine of signatures, believing that the shape, color, or scent of a plant revealed its celestial allegiance. A bitter herb like centauri, pale and star-shaped, was assigned to the moon and given for anemia, as if the waning moon could draw out excess or replenish what was lost. Lavender, with its calming fragrance and lunar hue, became a remedy for anxiety and sleeplessness, a gentle answer to the body's nocturnal unrest. The logic ran deeper than simple matching. Diseases ruled by one planet, he insisted, should be treated with herbs ruled by its opposite. The sun rules the heart, the moon the belly, Mars the blood. By reading the sky and the hedgerow together, Culpeper offered a toolkit that any English reader could use, bypassing the Latin gate. No man, he wrote, deserved to starve to pay an insulting, insolent physician. In this matrix of herbs and planets, knowledge was no longer a secret guarded by the elite. It became a code for healing, resistance, and for those who could read it, something more, a cipher for a new kind of power. August 1643. The fields outside Newbury roared with musket fire and the shouts of the London-trained bands. Nicholas Culpeper, enlisted as a surgeon apothecary, worked among the wounded, hands slick with blood, his own chest burning from a musket ball that tore through flesh and bone. Muster rolls from Skippon's regiment list him as present. But it was the wound, deep and ragged, never fully healed, that followed him from that day. Tuberculosis, the slow wasting that haunted soldiers with chest injuries, began its work in his body. Night sweats, a persistent cough, the weight of each breath. These became his companions, written into the margins of his later casebooks, and echoed in the parish records that would, a decade later, record his cause of death as consumption. The war did not end at the edge of the battlefield. Back in London, Culpeper's enemies closed in. The Society of Apothecaries summoned him to their court in 1644, charging him not just with practicing medicine without their seal, but with the far older crime: witchcraft. The summons accused him of publishing and disseminating herbal recipes and planetary correspondences contrary to the established order and indicative of magical superstition. In the eyes of the city's authorities, to mix astrology and medicine was to invite suspicion of sorcery. The accusation was not idle. The society's records describe a formal indictment, the language sharp with threat. But the case collapsed in the confusion of war and the support of the poor who crowded his shop. The experience hardened him. The wound in his chest, the fever in his lungs, the threat of prosecution, these became fuel. Culpeper saw the price of knowledge paid in blood and suspicion, and the cost of healing measured not only in coin, but in risk. His war was not only against disease, but against the gatekeepers who would rather see the sick perish than let them read the cure. No man, he wrote, deserved to starve to pay an insulting, insolent physician. The next battle would be fought in print, with words as weapons and the code of the planets as both shield and signal. August 1644. London's presses rattled out a pamphlet with a title as cryptic as its message: A Prophecy of the White King and Dreadful Dead Man Explained. The signatures at the bottom, Nicholas Culpeper and William Lilly, were more than names, they were a cipher. Culpeper's planetary language, once a tool for healing, now threaded its way through the city's underground networks. Stationers' bills show payments for secret print runs, while marginal notes in the pamphlet mapped astrological dates onto the fate of kings. Lilly, the Parliament's favored astrologer, crafted predictions that slipped past censors by cloaking rebellion in the stars. But the code was not only for men. State papers from the 1650s reveal a network of nearly 60 women, spies, couriers, codebreakers, who carried messages in invisible artichoke juice ink, smuggled beneath the seal of an ordinary letter. In one 1656 memorandum, Margaret Talbot's instructions for artichoke ink appear alongside a list of pamphlets to be distributed by hand. Among these operatives, the name Aphra Behn surfaces. Agent 160, Astrea, and her coded letters echo the same planetary ciphers found in Culpeper and Lilly's print. In the shadows of war, the language of the stars became a weapon, a bridge between medicine, prophecy, and the secret work of revolution. In 1649, Nicholas Culpeper broke the Latin gate wide open. He published his English translation of the Pharmacopoeia Londinensis, the college's guarded recipe book, stripping away the language of privilege and laying bare the cures once reserved for the learned and the wealthy. The colophon bore his name and the date, a direct challenge to the college's authority and a declaration that medicine belonged to the people. 2 years later, he pressed further with the English Physician, a volume that did not simply translate but expanded. A manual for the common reader, mapping herbs to planets and illnesses to celestial rhythms. In 1653, the Complete Herbal appeared, binding together field observations, planetary tables, and a lifetime's defiance. These books spread through market stalls and parish chests, their pages smuggled into the hands of those the college had long ignored. Culpeper's final days in Spitalfields were spent in the shadow of consumption, but the probate inventory lists not only tinctures and instruments, but stacks of printed sheets, evidence that his last battle was fought, and won in print. On January 10, 1654, he died at 37, leaving behind a legacy that outlived the college's monopoly, and a code that ordinary people could finally read for themselves. Today, medical language still builds walls between knowledge and those who need it most. Culpeper's defiance, "No man deserved to starve to pay an insulting, insolent physician," resonates whenever power cloaks healing in secrecy. The tension remains. Who owns the code, and who is left outside its gates?